Hello and welcome, folks, to another edition of RSF Radio. I am your host, Joe Monday, and I have a very special guest with me tonight. Someone who I've been very excited to talk to because it's just like home run after home run. She's up to bat seemingly every day and just knocking it out of the park. The hits don't stop coming with this one. It's Persia. How you doing?
I am great. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you.
No, I mean it. I mean it because it was to this point, and I've said this before on the show. And I am earnest when I say this because I understand how some of the scheduling works. I understand how it's that I'm only so impressed because I can see with my mind's eye the work that is going on behind the scenes and the conversations that are happening. But with every announcement that you've had for EXO Academy, it's like, damn, it's everybody, everyone's involved, and it's ridiculous. Hit after hit, day after day, it's like something new. What's the big announcement tomorrow? I'm sure there's something.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is actually.
Oh, okay.
Which
great.
is funny. But,
Actually,
I had an awesome meeting earlier today, so now I get to, share some exciting stuff tomorrow and, always looking forward to the future. I mean, I learned a really powerful quote from a really good friend that is, a closed mouth never gets fed, right? So now, I just ask, no matter how crazy it seems, no matter how out of reach it seems, it doesn't hurt to ask. The worst they could say is no, and then, you move on from there. So I feel like it's just been working out so well this year that, there hasn't been that many no's, I guess.
Yeah,
so
the whole
everyone's
FGC
really on board.
is just yes-anding everything that EXO Academy has going on. It's just like, of course, yes, that is great advice. Actually, and we can get to this in a minute. Maybe you can sit on this for a while, but if you wanted to make that announcement here as well and tell me what time to release the show, so
yeah.
It's after whatever time you make it, then we're A-okay on that one. But let's rewind it for a little bit because maybe I'm being presumptuous with people who are listening to the show. Maybe they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
That seems irresponsible of someone. Maybe they don't know what EXO Academy is. So what's going on? What even is Hugs and Kisses Academy?
Oh man. So EXO Academy is my brainchild, pretty much. Back in 2014, I wanted to do something very similar to this, but not this exactly. And, I did kind of piggyback off of that old idea this year because I was presented with new and great opportunities to help get this off the ground. So I revamped it, for modern day FGC. I revamped it in a different perspective because in 2014, the person I was in 2014 is definitely not the person I am today. And everything I've experienced over the last few years, I feel like has what, helped make the Academy so good because I am looking at it in a much different light than I did before. So the Academy itself, it's a 4-week intensive training program in which I go through my hefty list of applicants and I find dedicated female fighting game players and, players with a good flexibility for those 4 weeks. And then at the end of the 4 weeks, we send them to a major event. So each wave, quote unquote, is what they're titled, leads up to a major event. So we officially have 3 waves that are guaranteed to happen. So wave 1 just started February 18th, and we have Romanova and Pichon for Street Fighter and Dragon Ball Z, and they're going to be going to final round. And then wave 2 is Space Cake and SVL for Street Fighter and Tekken, and they're going to be going to Combo Breaker. And then we have CEO, in which I have not announced.
I was going to say those names aren't
in wave 3
yet. Perhaps tomorrow.
Maybe we'll see. I say maybe to be all mysterious, but I actually just remembered right now that was also a thing I had waiting to and was separate from the other announcement I was talking about. But I'm really excited for wave 3 also. But I'm gonna keep the anticipation growing for that. But more announcements definitely coming soon. But wave 3 is going to CEO, so that's what I can say.
Word. I'm down with that.
And yeah,
Because
so
I think that an important angle to this is not just that these players are getting training through the games themselves by very skilled players that like match up in line with like the characters that they play and match up with them schedule wise, all that good stuff. But it's also like social media training and like how to carry yourself and market yourself training, like marketing training, like all of this stuff, just like physical therapy, all that, like that stuff too. There are so many wheels turning that it gives me I'm looking at the schedule right now and it's giving me anxiety. Like my shoulders, I don't like there's
me too.
My shoulders are rising just thinking about this. So like what was the whole impetus for that? What gave you that idea of bringing it in and just saying, no, let's just cash in on all these great things that people in the FGC are doing and make it all one great thing, wave after wave, month after month. The hits don't stop coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing for me was that I kind of built this in the image of what I wish I had when I came into the community. I did get a lot of these aspects over time, but kind of a workshop or a crash course like this is something I feel like is really helpful and really useful. And not only just for people who are just starting out, but for people who are fundamentally sound and they do have a fighting mentality, but they're hitting a plateau that, only certain things can help you ascend from that point of view on your own is how I feel. And, of course, there are resources out there, YouTube and videos and just watching footage and, trying to travel where you can, but not everyone has the resources to do that. So it was kind of like if I could make an ideal program that I would like, that I wouldn't have to pay anything for, what would it be? And that's pretty much what I created because, we're not charging any of these girls. Like, the only thing we're charging them is their time because it is intensive. We require them to stream 3 times a week, minimum 2 hours. That's not including their gameplay sessions they have once a week, not including their special skills sessions, not including their required offline event experience, weekly experience also. And, just all these things, kind of sticking them to a schedule and making it easy for them to follow shows them how easy it is to apply to their day-to-day life. Because, I did put in the schedule. They don't only have to stream 3 days a week, but these girls are already like, well, I'm going to stream every day. Why not? They're already in the groove. They're already feeling motivated because they're already unlocking things day one that they want to apply. And every single fighting game player feels that same feeling. Every time you level up, every time you learn something new and you apply it to your game plan, what do? You keep playing because it's hype and you're like, yes, I'm getting better, and you can feel it. And then, that's what I want them to do. And I don't put the bug in their ear, hey, you're probably going to want to stream every day now. No, I let them do their thing. I give them the resources I can give them and let them make the most out of it. So I feel like, both of them, they just finished their first day each, Monday and Tuesday. And they killed it. They knocked it out of the park. They had a great time. And, as expected, there are going to be a few things switched around in the schedule. Philly's going through all this crazy weather stuff. So, Peachon snuck in a local session yesterday instead of the one she planned on going to today because she wasn't sure about the weather. But, she still made an effort to make sure she's still getting that required training in, which is great. So I feel like they're just doing an amazing job. We're getting such great footage and clips too, and things that I want other people to see, not just women, but some of the clips I posted up from Peachon sessions yesterday is, her landing this combo she just learned a half an hour before during her training session with Dominion. Yeah. She lands the combo in their, first to 10 assessment test, and she was like so happy and proud of herself and excited, and you could just hear it in her voice. And that's why I am doing this. That's what I want, to give to them, that satisfaction of them putting in this time and effort and seeing those results. And this is only day one. So it's
that was
really exciting.
That was a really good moment from that session. Because like she's happy and like Dominion's stoked about it. He's like, yeah,
right?
He's like, yeah, sick. Like, this is great.
He's like, I'm proud of you too, because it is a big deal,
Yeah. And like, yeah, it is something that it just like it oozes this positivity in this in this time where like things, I don't know, it's really easy to be sad. Like I'm in a downer and a bummer of a mood. I got holes in my roof. I have no time to be happy in 2019. But I see this stuff and I go, oh, this is joyous. Everything about this is just like, because the other thing about it that I've noticed is that everyone that you've brought on is someone who I've made a note of, who's in the community doing work for no other reason than I need to do this work because this is like good for the community. This is good for me and I want to do this. Like basically every name that you pulled here is like people who I've like recognized as like, yes, they give so much of a fuck. Everyone here gives so much of a fuck. It's great. Do you want to maybe, I don't know, the list is so long at this point, but do you maybe want to give a plug to everyone involved?
Yeah, definitely. Like without the special skills team, I feel like this academy would make an impact, but it wouldn't have made as much of an impact. And that definitely has to do with who they are, and they're so well respected in their fields. And I'm also, very good friends with all these people too, and they're just genuinely great people who have great intentions. And together we're stronger, and they're all on that same page. And I feel like that's important. I thrive on that family feel and that family, vibe, which is another reason why I do, hold the FGC very close to my heart, because I've been to plenty of events where, I see one person once a year, but the second we see each other, we're still family, So I want to have every person that's involved with EXO Academy to feel that same way, like that we're a family and we are always looking out for each other's best interests, and especially for our players too. So, James Chen, handling our commentary. Well, I guess I should take a step back, right? Our special skills, we have one special skills meeting per week for the 4 weeks. So we have 3 mandatory. Every player will take these courses, which is physical training. They get 2 sessions. They get an assessment session with Kate. She asks them, about their day-to-day, gets more information for them, and then she follows up with them, at the end of the week, and then gives them a routine to use and tips and techniques to use. So then,
yeah, that is something that is so often overlooked and yet is so important, which is kind of another sidetrack that I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the 2 players that you chose, P-Chan and Romanova, are both like,
yeah, they're fit people,
extremely fit, like #FitFGC. Actually, Romanova was on the show, fucking months ago, episode 45, where she pitches the whole Fit FGC thing. We had a good conversation about eating right and just staying fit in general. But to that degree, and then also like stretching is important. Doing like wrist stretches is important. And all of this like physical therapy stuff is, you have to take care of yourself, folks.
Yeah, and when you're learning new games, or you're just playing games you never played before. Like for me personally, I started out in first-person shooters, so when I first started learning fighting games and I first started using arcade stick, my left arm, I have never used my left arm that much. My left arm was on fire for like 2 days the first time I ever played on an arcade stick, and like really bad. I couldn't sleep. Like I thought I pulled something, but it was just because I had not used my left arm that strenuously in anything. And then I spent 6 hours learning DP FADC Ultra with Ryu and Street Fighter 4. So it's like all of this, mind you, one of my first things ever learning in fighting games. So that's the type of training I had when I stepped in. But, I take that into consideration, and I don't want anybody else to go through that. Because some people might go through that and they'll be like, man, this is going to happen every time I play. I don't want to play.
Yeah, my pinky's really flaring up. What's this about? I have never used my pinky in my life. Why do I have it even?
Seriously. I never used my pinky so much until the first time I played Guitar Hero, and I was like, I don't ever want to use my pinky again. This is horrible. I was going to bring up, like, usually in, like, when you see people learn an actual guitar for their first time, but then Guitar Hero, that's not that far off. That's not that That
different.
orange key is really far.
It's real far out there, fam. It is a mile away in terms of how, anyone who's watched someone learn a guitar knows that like that pinky That gets real strong. But also, what the fuck do we need pinkies for? Let's just evolve as the human race. We don't need it anymore. Come on, get real. But anyway, so there's that element of it. There's also
physical training.
What else you got?
And then we have marketing and branding. That's also required. That's with Mama Dow. She's like the perfect person for this because I feel like she understands very well.
Mama Dow, who's that?
Mama Dow, only like the greatest person in our community that
I'm
never
just
gets
tossing you a
like
softball, please.
enough respect and attention. Sorry, I have to go off for my girl, you know. But anyways, yeah, you know, so Mama Dow, she's holding that down. I feel like she has like the perfect understanding of you know, how we should be marketing and branding ourselves in 2019 in esports, you know. So that's great. And she's always like a mother figure to everyone. So it's just a perfect fit. And then, you know, that's not even to touch on the fact that, you know, she created Combo Queens and, you know, helped that initiative grow into something really amazing. So I really love that she's on board. She's also holding it down for players interested in tournament organizing, but I'll get to that. The third required special skills is media training. Because anyone can just open their Twitter right now and see how like almost every person on your timeline probably needs some media training. But you know, I think it's really important for people to know and protect themselves. Like I say it all the time, I don't look at media training as a way for you to censor yourself. I just use it as a way to protect yourself. You know, it's way too easy to get your words twisted and it's just unnecessary headache and unnecessary time wasted when you could just avoid it altogether. And media training is great for that. So those are like the required ones. And then during the application process, I ask each player what their interests are outside of competing. And a lot of them are like cosplay or commentary or tournament organizing, content creation. So I pulled coaches for their electives. So you got 3 required special skills and like an elective special skills. So, you know, if they want to learn more about commentary, we match them up with James Chen. He helps them go over his stuff. James Chen will be meeting with Romanova this wave. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. And then we have Core Gaming holding it down for the content creation, which was huge for me personally. Like, I'm a fan of all of his content, and when I sent the tweet, I definitely sent it not even expecting him to like know who I was or like be interested, or you know, sometimes people get a lot of messages and they might not even see the message, you know, so I just threw it out there hoping for the best. And like, he was so nice and so on board, and he doesn't even live in this country, so now like he's still on board with scheduling and making it work within his schedule on the other side of the world. Like, it's so cool. So he's going to be meeting with Peach on this wave because she's interested in doing more content creation. And then of course we have the amazing Vampy Bitme for cosplay, and like I mentioned earlier, Mama Dow for tournament organizing. And yeah, that's like our special skills team right there, which is awesome. Like, I love them all so much, and I feel like they really add a lot of, you know, credibility to the program and excitement. So yeah,
it really is an academy. Even has electives. How many credits do you need to pass the academy?
You just need to meet every meeting and stream when you need to stream and stuff like that, you know. Well,
another great thing that I think is part of this, that in my opinion, I think a lot more people should probably get involved with. Hey folks, don't let me tell you what to do. I'm not necessarily the best role model. But here's something that I think that I could recommend to everybody, and we can all agree with this, is that you go to the Patreon and you say, hey, here's like a little bit of money, if you're able to, because then you get to like watch all this stuff as it happens. It is for the people to see. This isn't just like, I'm in my academy off and alone. It's not a private academy. This is a public academy. I love that.
And honestly, like, if I could, I wouldn't be putting any of this content behind a paywall. Like, 100%.
Like, completely understandable.
But, you know, actually, I'm going to bring up a funny little point after this, but you know, this is FGC, we're all struggling. So when some opportunity comes along, but this is really the only way to turn it into something really sustainable. And it's unfortunate, but I think it helps, and I feel like it does make it more of a community effort when it is like this. And you know, I am looking to the future, perhaps, you know, after wave 1 is complete, then we release the content week by week on our YouTube for free, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Right.
if you pay in advance, you get access in advance for probably 2 months before anybody else can watch it publicly and stuff like that. Because, this is some quality stuff, and it sucks I have to put it behind a paywall, because I know not everyone can, put money towards something, in these times. Like, it's rough out there
It's
right
rough out
now,
there. It is.
So, and
It's
I
not-
totally
you're not
understand that.
wrong.
Like, I feel everyone right now in that, like, sense. So, even a retweet, even a share, that is like just as meaningful as you putting $1 towards the cause. So,
Yeah, just to gain awareness of it, because for as much work is going on here, for as many wheels that are spinning, I really haven't seen a whole lot of mention of this in the main FGC media outlets that there are. But that's kind of honestly, that's a whole other conversation of like how
Yeah.
FGC media outlets are doing in 2019. Not good. Not good.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
the sad answer to that. Unfortunately.
But, that's why people need to step up in the community, you know what I mean? Like, we can't get complacent with what is already established when
Right.
we can do so much better.
Yeah, this is a message that I continue to shout from the mountains anytime I can, is to support good works when you can, if you are able to. Be that directly through like financially supporting them. Like, I know that there's a lot of people. There's people who do solo work on your schedule who have their own Patreons that are totally worth supporting. Again, if you're able to. But even aside from that, like retweeting, liking something, all that stuff has value. There's an intrinsic value to it. Putting it in front of someone else's eyes is
Like, so much more value than a lot of people think. Some people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. There's value. I'm sharing it. People on my timeline will see it. But you also got to see it from a business point of view, too, because I do go to my Twitter analytics and I pull these numbers and I put them in decks and I send them to sponsors. And I get to say, hey, guess what? I launched this Twitter account 3 months ago and we already have almost 1,300 followers. We have, 650,000 interactions within 3 weeks. Let's make something happen. You see how much better that looks, all because you guys took the time out of your day to retweet.
I love it. I love it because that's something that so many people don't think about, is that like engagement, it can fucking turn into money. Like for people, like it is so like I get it. It's hard
It
to
can
see
turn
that
into
relation.
opportunities, I guess,
like,
would be a better word.
And me, who's just someone who's like, well, give me the content, I want to eat it. Put the content in front of me, and I want to throw it away when I'm done using it. Like, sure, I don't see that line. I don't have to give a fuck about any of that stuff. But like the relationship is there. And that having that kind of engagement, having those kind of numbers helps you go after potential sponsorships. So, I mean, I'm not trying to fleece something out of you and say, hey, maybe you've got a fight stick brand on board with Exo Academy, but I wouldn't be surprised if you did.
Like, my whole deal is I want to give these girls everything that they can and everything that they need to be professional players, because that's what they're hungry for, that's what they're thriving for. And I feel like there are a lot of factors that play into getting someone to that level. Confidence, them being confident in their gameplay, confidence in terms of maybe even merchandise, give them exclusive jersey, exclusive bags, stuff like that, get them feeling good. You look good, you feel good, you play good, you perform good, confidence, consistency. Like, these are all things they're going to be doing every single day for the next 4 weeks, right? They say it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. Well, we're giving them a couple extra, an extra week for that. But after this, they're going to be so accustomed to doing this that they are going to be able to consistently do this without Exo Academy. And then they'll also be able to go beyond and, share their knowledge now with everybody else. So it's a seed, it's a platform, it's a jumping pad. That's how I picture it. I don't expect them to join Exo Academy and then 5 years later still, give all the credit to Exo Academy. I want them to go and do their thing and go inspire more women to do what they're doing.
Right. You want them to then come back to you and say, I will coach someone.
Exactly.
On these things that I've learned after having launched a fighting game community career from from EXO Academy. That's the
Exactly.
goal. I love it. I'm in line with
And
that.
even with combo queens, combo queens, they have their sessions, and they're even starting to add coaching into some of those sessions. And I'm looking forward to, once women start completing these waves, they become official coaches for combo queens meetups. It's all
Yeah.
like a cycle, and we're all like giving back to each other. So
That makes sense
I'm looking forward to it.
because Combo Queens has done fucking phenomenal work in the past, like 2 years specifically. It's been really good for them, I want to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else that you want to hit on with EXO Academy? I know we've spent the last like half hour plugging this, and I could talk about it for another half hour because listen, this aligns with like everything that I truly believe in. I'm super for this. You're enabling people to do greater things, and to me, I don't know if you saw that tweet from Rick the other day of what is the FGC to you, and to me, ideally, this is it to me. Is that like knowledge being passed from player, not just within the game themselves? Because, like, yes, knowledge through the fighting game is something that happens just intrinsically because it's what we're playing. But you learn so many more life lessons from that. I'm a totally different person because of my involvement within the community, but I'm for it. Any other news?
I guess the only other big things I can see is that our shirts are still available at nexthitwins.com.
Oh yeah, I saw today that that's a whole other thing. Is that I mean, speaking of like engagement and talking to people and just getting your foot in the door, you contacted who is it?
Next Hit Wins.
Next Hit Wins for. I guess they're doing all of the. Are they doing all of the how much of this do you want to talk about? Like,
Next Hit
wet
Wins
works?
is
What happened here?
awesome. Like about like how the shirts came about, I guess.
Yeah. Because I'm
So
kind of
Next Hit
curious
Wins-
about the mechanics of what happened here.
Yeah, so Next Hit Wins, I've been working with them for like the past year or so. They released my Scrubby versus Mashy t-shirt. That was another just like little fun idea I had, and they made it happen. They turned it into a shirt, and we sold a few, and maybe more will come of that little duo, Scrubby and Mashy. But then it only made sense to ask them if they would be interested in doing the XO shirts. I already had the logo and everything. I did a very, very small like 6 t-shirt batch run online just so I could have a few in time for like interviews and giving to the players and stuff like that. But then Next Hit Wins, they were like, yeah, we could do this, and they had a better distributor. The t-shirts that I have that I bought on small batch are not as good a quality as the ones that Next Hit Wins has. So everyone's going to get the really, really good ones. So I'm excited about that.
They got the hook.
Yeah, exactly. So they were super excited, and automatically they were like, we want proceeds from these shirts to go to the program, and from working with them with my previous shirt, we definitely did breakdowns and stuff like that when people would purchase, but they were just all on board with helping the Academy as much as possible, and they never once acted greedy about it or anything. They just had the best interest for the Academy in mind. And we almost had 50 pre-orders. Like, that is insane. I think 48 was the final count. 50 pre-orders, and it's insane to me because
it was what, like 2 weeks time? It wasn't even a month, was it?
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks, I think, of the actual pre-order. It's still for sale on the website, but it was on sale. It was like $5 cheaper during pre-order time.
And it was cheap
yeah, it's
too.
insane.
It was so easy.
And you get free stuff. You get a free sticker. You get a free Persia cat commentator charm. We were just like, take everything and just support us. And I feel like that's what everybody did, and it's awesome.
I got a box full of pins and stickers back here. Guess what's going in your package?
Yes, exactly.
No, I love it. It's great, and it's a cool design too. I like the baseball tee look. It's a good look. I got a couple.
I'm a sucker for a raglan tee.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I get it, but then I know this is one of those things where I know immediately Leah will steal it. It's like, whenever you get clothing that maybe you can't relate to this, but I know that I have to offer some percentage of my clothing as tithe to my wife. It will just become hers. This seems like something that will just become hers. I got a hoodie the other day that's just like, well,
oh yeah,
I wore it
Rest
once
in
and then
peace.
she touched it and went, oh yeah, I know where this is going. I'm like, oh yeah, this no longer belongs to me. This is mine and
Yep.
is my size, but no longer.
Nope.
One more, I do have to share a story because this happened so recently. Sorry for interjecting with this stealing coat story, but she actually stole my winter coat, which is like a very weird thing to steal, like a men's winter coat. And she wore it to work. And when she returned it, when I put it on the next day, there was 2 rolls of Brick's poop bag. Brick is my dog. Brick's poop bags, and one in either pocket. There was a receipt from Dunkin' Donuts and a bag of peanut M&Ms in the pocket, which is like a bonus for me, I guess. I don't know what she's doing in her free time, but if she's going to steal it and M&Ms are going to appear, I can be down for that.
See, the real reason men get their clothing stolen is because they give you guys more pockets.
True. That is actually like 100% true. Ladies' pants pockets, they might as well not exist.
Exactly.
Honestly.
It's horrible.
How dresses with pockets, though, that's like
Ooh, that's top tier. That's
top
S tier.
I think we can all agree that is like S tier dress.
Sometimes I've bought in the dress just because it had pockets. Like, I might not have been a huge fan of the print, but I was like, this dress has pockets, though.
Yeah, but then you're like, you try it on and you slide your hands along the edge and then your thumb catches on something and you go, oh, yes, this dress, because you didn't know that it had pockets before and now you do.
Oh, yeah. That's always a great discovery. That's almost equivalent to finding money in your pocket.
It's just funny. I've like been in that situation with Leah where like she's trying something on and then I just hear from the dressing room, it has
Gasp.
pockets.
So great.
Yeah, she's the best. Anyway, enough about that and personal relationship stuff. Enough about that. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about EXO Academy, and it's that, hey, that Wave 1 intro video, hey, that song is a banger. It fucking slaps, dude. That is
Yeah,
one hell
I
of an
mean,
intro video.
Thank you. Everyone loves that video. I had a lot of fun making it.
It's real good.
I am a self-taught Photoshop and like video editor because I just have, YouTube and Google on my side. So, I just like try to, bum off of free resources online and, kind of turn it into my own. And everyone really enjoyed it. The music, like, when you do stuff like this, you have to get like royalty-free stuff. So all the
That's
music I use
royalty-free?
is- yeah, all of it's like royalty-free
I thought for sure
music.
you fucking stole that shit. Damn, that's a banger. Wait a minute. That's for free? Yo,
Yep.
damn, I gotta link up with that
I mean,
Spotify
it took
account.
me like
Damn.
looking through maybe 20 to 25 pages of royalty-free music
Yeah,
to
that's
find
the
one
other
that fit,
thing.
but it's worth it. Everyone liked it, It took me like 9 hours for 52 seconds, but everybody loves it, and it made everyone really excited, so it's worth it.
Dude, you're blowing my fucking mind. Royalty free. I gotta ask, like, how many bad songs do you have to pour over to go, oh, no. Oh, no, this is bad.
And some of them are like titled the same exact thing as like something else, and you just have to listen to it and figure it out.
Oh, the world of royalty free stuff is a goddamn mess. But no, that's awesome. I feel like you mentioned something there that I feel like is very true of much of the FGC, and it's something that I think is, I don't know, do we learn these skills out of like a necessity? Is it a survival instinct where we don't know something, we're driven to solve the problem of, I don't have this knowledge, or, I don't know how to punish this thing, I'll spend some time learning how to punish it. I don't know how to make videos, let me spend some time making videos. Like earlier, this will sound very strange, and I'm not going to talk about it openly yet as to why I was thinking about this, but in my mind today, I had the thought, I need to learn how to make a in-browser online, like, quote-unquote video game. I need to learn how to make one. I saw a meme. I know this is hella cryptic, and maybe I'll tell you afterwards because I'm not sure I'm going to commit to it. But I had a thought today of me saying I need to make a video game. So
hey, that's not a bad thought.
No, it's not. I mean, look at Hi Fight.
Right?
I mean, that guy made a video game.
I love Hi Fight. He is awesome.
Yeah, he's the fucking... Talking about people who people should support, that dude. At least download footsies. He gets money for that, I'm sure. In some way. But anyway, something I wanted to ask you then, somewhat tangential to Exo Academy, because it just so happens to line up with the next month or so, for whatever fucking reason. SFL USA...
Yeah.
This is something that popped up in everyone's timeline. Maybe not everyone's timeline, because I don't know if it's been really pushed as hard as... I don't know if there's like a lot of push behind it or a lot of marketing put behind it. I don't know if like what the budget looks like at all. But SFL, specifically USA, because I see a lot of people say North America region, but it is not North America region. This is strictly the US of A.
Right.
But also to that end, not continental USA. It also includes Hawaii and Alaska, so good luck. Good luck to the West Coast in your connections. Good luck with that for whatever reason. Anyway, so today, in fact, this is a or was it last night? I don't know how time works. But this is the 20th of February. This was either today or yesterday. More information came out because earlier they said we have a 3v3. There's going to be character bans, and the FGC went, "It's a fucking Tuesday. What the fuck?" And then, then after that, they said, along with that announcement, that it will be one player from the CPT ranking, so they'll have that. One player from online tournaments, and then one player from being voted in, which no information has been released on that yet. I'm excited about that.
As captains, right?
Captains are the ones who were the CPT in ranking. They're the captains. There's going to be a draft once these online tournaments are done. And we're going to hear something about voting eventually. But again, that's the thing. Here's the thing. All of the language is very vague in specific instances where it's like, hey Capcom, in this in this thing where it says winners of online tournament will be part of team, they'll get I think the wording is like they'll be invited to. And I had to ask the question, does that mean they'll be flown out to the event? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I think it's purposely vague.
It's purposely
so that they can't be held. Okay, I'm gonna say from experience with planning Curly Finale a couple of years ago. We tried to make it work to where, the top 8 qualifying on points from the whole season were flown out.
Right.
For free, and then the rest of the top 32 were invited. But there was definitely a very, very clear difference between the two.
Right.
And, so that's how I know, it seems like they're being purposely vague right now until they hammer everything out, but they want to get something out there because look at the dates.
Yeah, look at these dates. Yeah, my gut says absolutely they have to. Like, there has to be some kind of putting people up because that's just what my gut tells me.
And there's such a strenuous approval process on Capcom's side that
this is Capcom
no
USA.
Easy way to plan something.
This is Capcom USA trying to get information out from Capcom proper, and historically, even with my experience, every single human that I've known who has interacted or worked for Capcom US has just been through the fucking meat grinder of we talk to them like it used to be. They only talk to them once a month, and it's like, hey, that's fucking not enough.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to release any information because they didn't have any information, and their bosses wouldn't tell them information. So it's like, hey, sorry, Harrison, sorry about your life right now. You guys remember Harrison? Remember that guy? Anyway, No, people don't. That's the thing. He disappeared for good reason too. But anyway, no. So that the information is vague. But let's just assume that the winners of these tournaments will be flown out because it starts not this weekend, but the following weekend, next Friday. It begins. The online tournaments begin, which is like buck wild to me. And I know, was it last week's? No, it was 2 weeks ago. I was talking to Francie about running online tournaments. And I specifically brought all this stuff up where I was like, hey, there's a couple things that the way that even online ranking events are run where there's a couple tweaks that need to be made here to make it a positive experience for all of the players. Because I've talked to people who have entered online tournaments, like proper CPT online tournaments, ones that you would assume have like some thought put into them and like the people behind them. But a lot of the time, the online tournament experience is bad. And as someone who runs an online tournament every week, I keep these. Tough. I mean, these wheels are greased. I got them greased. I know. I can see ahead already the places where things are going to get fucked up. Specifically, I mentioned this earlier, but the West Coast region includes Hawaii and Alaska and goes as far east as Texas. And the minimum requirement for upload speed, not including ping to a selected server within the West Coast, but the only internet stringent requirement is you need to have 3 megabits per second minimum requirement to join upload speed, which Hawaii to Texas, huh?
Yeah, that's going to be rough.
We're doing that, huh? Okay.
That's going to be rough.
All right. The other thing that I pointed out in the notes, and I know why this was included because this is a CPT rule, but every time I see it in the online tournaments and I go, this should not be a banned thing, this should be a requirement, but the grid is a banned stage.
What? Why?
Huh? It's a banned stage. Because if you look at CPT rules... they
want you to use CPT stages.
Well, not even that. There's specific ones that they don't want you to use. So it's like Kenzuki Beach, the Flamenco Tavern, Cause Vega.
Yeah, well, those ones for obvious reasons, but training stage?
Training stage is banned because it's banned in the CPT proper, because it's like either it's a boring stage to look at, or people say, well, you can look at the squares, and it's like, okay, whatever the case may be. Honestly, we've gone over, if you listen, so this is a callback to an episode that you probably didn't listen to, but there was an episode with Weed a long while ago where we discuss exactly why it would be a bad idea to have an online tournament have anything other than training stage, honestly, because of when the game does load in, when it loads that stage and it hitches a little bit in that loading, and it does it right before a round, it introduces like a false lag, which can fuck up a game for no fucking reason, for actually no reason. So if you don't use a stage that has like low minimum requirements for load in. So the grid being a banned stage, here's the other thing, is that I know I'm sorry, I'm on a steamroll right now. I feel like I'm talking over you, but I am. Do it. The engines are running. This diesel engine is running, and it's hot right now. So, like. The other thing is that, man, okay, gotta cool off because I don't have to.
And it's like you haven't even scratched the real surface of like everything that you could talk on.
We're fucking getting there. We're getting there. But like, so this being a banned stage, that's bad. And I know in practice that people in online CPT events have used the grid, clearly, because you fucking have to. But why not, as someone who organized the event, look at the rules with your eyes and see that that's a bad idea? Anyway, next bullet point that I think is important. Must be at least 16 years of age to enter. I only point that out because Chris CCH got fucked over by Red Bull a couple of years ago because of that. It was a whole thing. Just want to point that out just in case any kids out there who can't buy real American cigarettes and bumming them off your high school buddies. or try to enter this tournament, guess what? You can't. Because if you win, I mean, you can enter, but if you win, they'll be like, let me see some ID, punk. And you'll be like, I ain't got no ID because I can't drive an actual car.
And then you give more work to people that we shouldn't be doing that to.
Yeah, and the person on the under end of that, oh man, could you fucking imagine? That would, oh my God, what a night. Because the thing is, Capcom would then be like fucking roasted for it.
Yeah,
or specifically the people who work at, like, Michael Martin would be roasted for it, but also like,
and then they'd be like, but we had it in the rules the whole time.
And then it's like me as someone who's run online tournaments, no one reads the fucking rules. This is just, it's just science. I don't, no one reads them ever.
Reading.
So it's fucking hard, man.
What's
don't do
that?
it. Reading is tough. Books are bad. Don't read them. Be cool like me. And don't read books. I'm Joe Monday. Another thing that I just know people will ask about is that prior to top 8, because I know that people who listen to this might want to enter, and I suggest that you do because it could be a free trip to wherever this is. I'm assuming Vegas.
Wherever this is.
Honestly, I don't, because they don't know. I don't know where it's going to be filmed. I assume Esports Arena in Vegas. Just
possibly.
Everything leading up to top 8 is best of 3, and then all of top 8 is best of 5. You heard it here first, folks. The other thing
I also want to touch on, though, these online qualifiers that we didn't talk about, was that the final qualifiers for those, both the West and the East Coast qualifiers, are on the same weekend as final round. I'm so confused by that, considering isn't final round the first stop on the CPT?
Yep, it is the very first event of the CPT. It has been the first event of the CPT every year for God knows how long.
They're stepping on their own toes, it feels like.
Persia, don't let your right hand know what the left is doing, right? Don't ever, except in this case, you're posting it on the same fucking website. It's all right there.
I'm just saying, I just saw this awesome graphic from Final Round where they talked about the CPT viewership and how much it jumped year by year. And so it seems like that's something they're very proud of and have the potential to do again this year. And now I don't know what's happening. They're taking away from, are they going to stream Final Round and then stream this SFL? Do they have their own Twitch channel? Are they starting back from scratch? I have so many questions.
That's a good question. Hey, Persia, let me ask you another question. Have you heard of the SFL Japan?
No.
Exactly.
The U.S. one is the first one I heard anything about today, like maybe a couple hours before I got on the call.
We're like a couple weeks into SFL Japan already. Did you know that?
No, not at all. I mean, I watch Evo Japan. I still didn't hear anything about that.
They were off this week because of Evo Japan. So I know this because...
Dang, I bet you those matches are hype too.
Yeah, dude, it's actually really fucking awesome. And I've talked about the rules on the show a couple weeks ago. But for any viewers out there who this is just for you, Persia. What you can do, the only place that an English-speaking person can find information on SFL Japan, you got to go to twitter.com and follow this guy called Doc Fugu Tibetan.
Oh, I think I know who that is.
Yeah, you've heard that name. You've seen him. It's that fish. It's that puffer fish. Follow that puffer fish. He's the only one that's doing any kind of translation of this event. He's been running a blog of it, so he keeps adding to it. He does a really good job of breaking down what the chat is saying at the times when like cool shit happens, and just like it's a very good breakdown, and it's a very good like pretty fully encompassing translation of the event itself. It, like, has videos linked right in it that you can just like look at the highlights. It's all good stuff. It's all right there. But that's the only place, and that it's one dude who lives in Japan, who happens to also speak English. Actually, I don't know enough about his history to know if he's like a transplant. I don't know what his life situation is. I'm going to talk to him at some point later next month. Anyway, not important. Is that it's one dude with about 1,000 followers on Twitter who is like the only avenue for an English
Like
speaking
the
audience.
one lone creaky bridge, like a mile-long creaky bridge between two whole things. That, like, people are like, should we cross? I don't know.
It's
Looks a
real
little
good.
dangerous. But then, we got that brave 1,000 that made it across the bridge, and they're experiencing great content. So
It's been going on because
Don't
it's
be
been
scared.
going on, and it's actually it makes me smile that you said that. No, you don't, but also makes me go like, how the fuck do we not know about this?
I mean, to be fair, I'm also, as much as I am on like Twitter and stuff, I'm also very like oblivious to a lot of things that go on until they get to a certain point that I can't ignore them anymore.
Right.
There's been a ton of instances where, I talk to, one party, and then I talk to the next party, and then I find out for the first time ever they've had beef for years, and I'm like, how? Why? What? I mean, I'm still cool with both of you. That's none of my business, but I had no idea because, I think it's just human nature for people to be like, oh, well, this person, that person, we're okay, but, because of that whole thing that happened, we don't really talk. And then I'm like,
Right.
what thing? You know what I mean? Like, that's just my natural reaction because I'm so oblivious. Like, it's bad.
And also,
then,
you don't want to get
I don't
mixed in
wanna
with
deal
other
with that
people's dirty
either.
laundry.
Exactly.
You don't-
I'm like doing so many other things. Like
Yeah.
those things are least of my worries. Like if you've always been cool with me, then we ain't got no beef. That's it. I make my
By
own
the way,
decisions. I'm
I
not
should
influenced
mention
by my
before
friends
we
and
continue,
stuff
I've
like
had
that.
beef with you for years that we really haven't talked about yet. Yeah, you're just I just think you're a black hole of fun, unfortunately. So
No fun allowed.
Sorry this has to come out on the show. It's a big bummer, I know, but no, but it's just fucking crazy to me that like it just seems that I don't know. I look to you because I see someone who's good at planning, and I think, is this how you would have planned this?
No, definitely not. I mean, if there's anything I've learned in the things I've tried and succeeded or failed at planning during my stay in the FGC, it's been make sure you have time. Like, if you don't have time, everything you do is going to be half the quality it could be if you just give yourself some time.
Yeah, I mean, even like look at this podcast. I don't have time for it, and it's shit, right?
No.
I'm sorry.
You are putting in time. You are putting in the time.
I saw an avenue for self-deprecation, and I couldn't not take it. I couldn't not take it. It's like it's my pastime. It is my baseball and apple pie. Is self-deprecation, but okay. No, that's a good point though, and I think
because I mean, I'm the type of person where for every 50 ideas I have, I probably finish one. So it's like the constant cycle of thinking the idea is great, getting really excited, things aren't going to plan, I feel rushed to put something out, I put something out I don't like, I immediately lose passion and interest because what's already out there for it is not on the level that I appreciate, right? So a lot of projects fall off, which is my fault. It's no one's fault but my own, because had I been better at my time management, I would have given myself the opportunity to make it how I really wanted it to be, and then put something out that I'm proud of, which will create a positive cycle of me continuing to do it. That's why I feel like, for the first time in a really long time, EXO Academy is a project that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It finally got off the ground, and I'm finally doing it in a manner that is successful for me because I've used all of these years of failure to make sure this one goes right. I'm giving myself time, and I'm making sure I'm not stepping out of my means to do what I need to do, but I'm also making sure I'm not putting out something I'm not proud of, because that's like the first step to just falling on my face and not finishing anything. So
I think that you raised a good point there as well that I think is worth talking about, is that people might see this EXO Academy, and then like me, for example, I might hop into this and see, wow, there's so much going on here. There's so many wheels being spun. So many plates are spinning right now. How is this even possible from one person to manage? But what I wouldn't be seeing is the hundreds of failed projects, of the failed attempts that of putting yourself, like, because that's the other thing. It's like, I know that I've had so many failed attempts, so many failed projects that like half starts that just don't work out for whatever reason, but you learn something. Or even better, you get a good contact and you get in touch with someone that you can later bounce ideas off of, or like want to collaborate with later. I think that's almost my favorite part of what you've done with EXO Academy, is that it truly cashes in on the power of collaboration in the FGC. It's something that I think that, because it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. And this isn't on the list of things for us to talk about, so I know this is a curveball, so if you don't have anything to really bounce off of, that's fine. But something I've been thinking about, because I look at metrics on like Twitch and YouTube streaming and Facebook, and I see that like all of this engagement, interaction, and what the potential of the FGC. I see it out there because our numbers are beans. It's beans in comparison. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Like if you took off the number one, maybe not. I was gonna say if you like cut off Team Spooky. I mean, but they're not pulling like ninja numbers. Like even like something as great and as historic and as important as Team Spooky, if you were to like just cut that off from Twitch, would Twitch see like an actual like cut in revenue from that?
Right.
Like
would it be significant enough?
Like maybe not. And that's our whole community, folks. Like that's who we are. So like I think I see that potential, and I don't see an avenue forward where we don't collaborate with, even outside of the FGC, like there's more people outside of the circles that we run, because it could be so much bigger. There's so many more people who are not involved with fighting games than are, and I want that number to grow or even be eclipsed by what we have.
I mean, it will. It's already starting to happen, because here's my take on it, at least.
I love how hopeful you are.
All of the well, maybe I can persuade you here then, because I feel like my mindset on this is, I don't know, maybe it's something bred with just how I've come up in general. But when I look at the FGC and I look at other esports that do have more numbers and all of that, there is a huge divide in terms of spectator sport and actual competitors, right?
Yep.
All of these League of Legends and Overwatch, like these are leagues, these are teams that are formulated, like these are not open tournaments. You're not going to see a comeback story. You're not going to see, the Arslans of, League of Legends come up and, surprise everyone, take first place. Like, you're just not going to see that. You're going to see the same routine every time. Now people are starting to get put onto the FGC thanks to the likes of people like Sonic Fox, very vocal. He's getting a lot of mainstream attention. He's showing that we have personality that people are not going to find in these other esports, because those esports are not looked at the same way that fighting games are. And you can see that people forcing the FGC to be esports like that hasn't been successful. All of our greatest events have been the crazy, wild, off the cuff, full of personality, full of like rich history about, our whole community. Like, that's what's drawing people in. You notice more player pieces coming out. You notice more, teams and stuff highlighting more than just a player's match, but getting their analysis and then getting into their minds and like showing the thought process. Like, not everything you see in a fighting game is what's actually happening. But once you sit there and you learn it, you realize how much more is going into this game. You build a new appreciation, and we just need to get people in and start, loving the great personalities that we have in our community for them to get hooked on watching us, because the excitement, the one-on-one aspect, watching someone's journey in the tournament from start to finish, like, that's something that none of these other esports are able to bring to the table. I don't know if you saw like Tekken Evo Japan, like that guy's backstory to how he even got there is insane. And then he won. So it's like, that stuff is exclusively bound. Even
getting
to
that location to compete, like, is you are like, he's like on the seat of his pants the whole time. It was, and then to body the number of players that he bodied, like, not an easy way through that, not an easy bracket, folks. Also, to point out, this isn't a Tekken podcast, but For anyone who knows about, ask your friend who knows about Tekken about how fucking incredible it was, and god damn, that's a good story. Those personal stories, I agree with you. Those are like can be really empowering and really moving in a lot of ways. And I think that I agree with you.
People get to build a stronger bond with the players in our community than they can following a team in Overwatch League, because guess what? That roster is probably going to be 75% different next season, and then what? You know what I mean? It's so different. It's apples and oranges, and I don't think we should like feel bad about our numbers. People just haven't been put on yet, and that's our job. You know what I mean? It's our job to not get stuffed into this little esports box, and it's our job to make this great content, help build our personalities, help, share and collaborate and reach out and not be afraid to reach further than you can reach. I'm sending sponsorship decks to companies that I know aren't even looking at it. They're sending me rejection emails. They're like, oh, sorry, we're not interested in sponsoring your event. I'm like, well, that's how I know you didn't even look at anything, because it's not an event, So it's like, but hey, for every 10 or 15 emails I send now, maybe one of them will come back positive. Maybe it'll be the opportunity we need to get more people involved in the community. Like if you look at wrestling, WWE, they started collaborating with musicians and artists, and guess what? Look at where WWE is at today.
Yeah.
Because of these collaborations and reaching outside the box. Like, we're there. We just need to put in the work.
I agree with you in some sense. I am in full agreement that us as a community have the power to move the scene. I feel like the people involved have the wherewithal, they have the energy and the power to do it. I'm with you on that. Where I might disagree with you, maybe not in disagreement, but a wrench I want to throw into this conversation. Something that Daigo brought up the other day, after Evo Japan, basically making a statement about esports in general. And the main takeaway from what he said was that, and this is kind of a rough translation, but he says about esports problems, he said that esports is more about the fight between developers rather than the players. Games are changing all the time, and esports players have to adapt to that, which is not something that existed in normal sports. And there's a degree of that which you look at all of the fighting games. I look at, and here's something that I fucking hate, and I try to curb this as much as possible, that anytime any new game comes out, I make sure that it is stickied at the top of our Street Fighter, because I know that Street Fighter is, in terms of the fighting game community, it is, for all intents and purposes, like the largest fighting game subreddit. You can say Dragon Ball Fighters, but that's mostly because it was overflow from actual Dragon Ball Z subreddit, and it's mostly not FGC, and not even like operated by people who are FGC. But that's a whole other story, and that's some underhanded shade that I maybe shouldn't have said. But anyway, I make sure to put those games at the top of the sub and say, hey, here's this game, here's where you can go if you want to find information on this game, because it is like so, it feels like we're battling, because I know historically and like continual throughout history, there will be people, at least in every one of those threads, someone says like Smash is for babies, or like what's like how do people make fun of NRS games, like whatever they say about that, like Clay Fighter Combat, I don't know. I don't know what people call it.
It's just ass.
It's just ass. Yeah, like that shit. The thing is, because here's the other thing, is that I see so much of it that it's become white noise to me. So I block it out of my brain.
Marvel's Dead is like, oh, okay, whatever.
No,
but it used to bother me, and now it doesn't.
I'm immune. It happens every time. It's communities fighting, but it's not actually. It's not the interest, like that is not interesting at all. That puts me to sleep. Puts me to fucking sleep. Show me very strong competitors going at it. Show me a good rivalry. Show me
exactly.
Give me a storyline. Give me something to chew on. Show me a story of
Exactly.
someone who is coming into a country where they don't speak the language, have a very hard time even finding the event, and then going through one of the
Right.
hardest brackets out there.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, people need to put in work, and there are people putting in work, right? But it's one, it's not enough people, and two, sometimes it's the wrong people. You know what I mean? Like I totally agree with you. Yes, we need these rivalries. Like I feel like that's one of the greatest thing about the FGC is these rivalries that come about. But how badly did Sonic Fox and Goichi get run into the ground before everyone was tired of seeing that rivalry?
Because the
They
best way
played
to build a
so
rivalry.
many exhibitions after they like were talking trash to each other online. I'm like, whoa, they're playing again?
Yeah, it was the following weekend they played. They had that. Now I'm forgetting the whole storyline, but it was the following weekend that there was a like full on exhibition between the two after they met in grand finals.
It
And
was like final round, and then they had an exhibition, then they had like another exhibition somewhere else.
and then
I think
like,
it was Esports Arena or something like that. I'm like,
yes,
what
it was
is going
Esports
on?
Arena, and then they did the class, and it was very bad. But the whole point of that is that the only people and the only things that are the only organizations who are doing like actual good content like that, content that can tell a story, are the people themselves. It's not the developers. It's not the games. I'm not seeing any
Some
of that.
teams are starting to catch on to how
Some
important
teams.
it is. I think Equinox does really good at doing
Yeah,
player
they do.
pieces.
They super do. UIU, I think,
And,
does as well.
Yeah, UYU does a really good job too. Like these guys are, doing it right. Like that's what I picture when I want people to see more about how interesting these players are, and they're doing that, and that's really really good. And I'd love to see more of that. And in general, it's like other people doing content and player pieces. Like Red Bull's done a couple of really really cool like personality pieces with their like before so and so was a thing. They like animated stories and stuff like that, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
kind of see,
Yeah, 'cause that was-
ESPN kind
I
of
was
shining
I was
light in
almost gonna
articles.
renege what you say and say, well, they were kind of done with esports writing in the FGC on the Red Bull esports proper, but no, you're right, because they did those really hot videos of like, remember back in the day we like drove out to, it was just like a good animated story. It was very good content, very
Yeah.
personable story that I think is
I love the way mine came out. Like it's so perfect.
yeah, it's very solid
And
stuff.
like everyone who was with me on that trip, they were like, "Wow, this video is awesome," because they saw it happen in real life.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, man. Moving forward, 2019 collaboration is the key. That is
Yes.
our way out of
Get
this
to work, y'all.
developer hell that everyone has put us in.
Like if you don't see someone doing something you think should be out there, then you should be the one out there doing it. That's kind of how I look at EXO Academy too. I'm like, man, why doesn't something like this exist? Like, does anyone realize how great this would be? And I was like, well, let me do it then. I mean, I got lucky. I got connected to someone who really wanted to make a difference as well, and they're, kind of investing into it. It's not a ton, but it's what we need to make
enough.
what's happening happen now. Yeah, it's enough to get it off the ground, and that's like more than I can ever ask for. And that's why I am, relying on the Patreon, because, this is a person of the FGC who just wants to do good in the FGC and didn't know how to go about it. So it's like that alone takes a ton of trust. And
Right.
then on top of that, like, they're just supporting a good cause, and they're not trying to ask, for a million different things out of me. They just want to be able to help the women in FGC. And that's like some change that I'm all for in 2019. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're getting there, one step at a time. Don't listen to Twitter, folks. We're getting there. We're getting there. Turn that shit off. Okay, unless there's anything, I think that's a good place to kind of wrap things up. I think we spent enough time dwelling on the facts, and I feel like if I spend any more time thinking about this, I'll just turn into a curmudgeon like I typically do. People don't want to hear that. I mean, I'm trying to bounce off your positivity, but it's wearing.
Yeah,
it's wearing,
I
getting
try.
there.
I spent a lot of my life being very negative, and you know what? It didn't do anything for me. So I was like, let me at least try to be a little more positive, right? It's all about the balance, where there's dark, there's light, vice versa. And it's like all how you look at it. The energy you put out into the universe is what the universe is going to give back to you. So if every day you're just thinking about how shitty everything is, well, guess what? The universe is just going to send that shit right back at you. But if you go into each day thinking about what can I do better, or, let's be excited about what's to come, let's get passionate about what we're working on, that will just show in what you're doing instead of you being constantly held back by your own negativity.
Oh, Persia, I love you. Okay. With that though, is there anything with EXO Academy or within your like whatever you're doing personally that you would want to pitch? Anything you're showing up at that you want to get out there?
Oh, yeah, this weekend.
Because by the way, folks, also, like you're not. It's not just EXO Academy. You do more than just this. This is not the place. This is not where you come from. This isn't who you are. You're a little bit more than this. So tell me what you're up to.
Still doing my commentary thing. You guys can catch me at SinCal Standoff this weekend. I'm going to be holding down the mics for some Tekken 7 and some Street Fighter 5, actually. So feel free to stop on by and check out the stream. Should be pretty hype. That's this Saturday and Sunday. I'm also going to be interviewed by Digital Trends tomorrow. So that's going to be cool, too. This will probably be out after that is out because it's in the morning. But yeah, that's exciting. They want to talk about the Academy also. So more coverage for our ladies. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm for it.
And content is going up on Patreon just about every single day. So please subscribe. Yes, the schedule is on the page. It's also on our Twitter, but it's probably easier to find it on our Patreon. It has a special post. And just thank you to all of our Patreons who have subscribed already. I think we're at 31 or 32 Patreons. We've passed the $300 a month mark, which is amazing. We are so close to actually making enough money per month to make it 3 girls per wave instead of 2. So we're really, really close to that. More than halfway there. So, just keep on supporting, take advantage of this awesome content. And I'm just so grateful for everyone's support.
Yeah, very solid. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I'm happy for you. Before I let you go, though, I have to ask you a line of questioning. It's a question that I ask everyone who comes on the show for the first time because I feel like it can really pull out a lot of who your character might be. I really can tell a lot about a person from these questions. It's a little fun. We like to have fun here. But the line of questioning goes as such. In any fighting game, what is your favorite normal attack?
Normal attack, so not a special move.
It could be. You make your own. Build your own brush. Show me what strokes you got.
So it's kind of hard to narrow it down. I mean, can I pick one per game?
No one has done that yet. We've had people give multiple answers, but you know what, Persia, for you, special for you, you go ahead.
All right, so Marvel 3, Wesker's crouching medium is
you.
godlike. That button has done wonders for me.
What
so
about
I love
that button? Tell me a little bit about it. For
that
people
button
who might
sets
not know,
up
why is it good?
So much amazing Oki. You know what I mean? You could do crouch medium. Well, I play Wesker Dante Magneto, right? So I got that beam assist on deck, got a disruptor. So I could do crouching medium into teleport with disruptor and cross up every time. Easy peasy, right? I can also do crouching medium, and if you don't push block, I have time to dash up and command throw you, which is 1 frame. So if you're not ready to jump, then you're going to get scooped. And, it's a low. People love to jump in Marvel. I'm always catching people on the up back. It's always great. Yep. So, it's overall, well-rounded. It has great range. It, sets up all my combos. It's a beautiful button. It's a great footsie button. It keeps people honest. And, in a game like Marvel, I can show some appreciation for a move like that.
Going the utilitarian route. I can respect that. What
exactly.
else you got? What else you got?
So Street Fighter 4, I played Yang. So his close standing medium kick is one of my favorite things to land.
Oh,
Like
it's
if
the
someone's trying
Marvel
to
button. You like his Marvel button in that game? Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Because
I'm seeing a trend here.
you know, if someone's doing like, if someone's trying to jump over me right in front of my face, I could just delay standing medium kick and it pops them out. I can go into ultra if I got meter. I can turn it into a mix up easily. I could just go into DP if I want to. Like, there's so many options you get off of landing, standing, close standing medium kick with Yang that, you know, I just think it's hype because every time I see it connect, I'm like, ooh, you know, my eyes light up and I'm like, what am I going to mix him with right now? Like, I love that.
Yeah, you hit him and it's like, got you, motherfucker. I love it.
And then for Skullgirls, I'm a Peacock main. So, like, my favorite move, this is actually my favorite move in all of fighting games ever.
Sharpie just perked up. I don't know where Sharpie is right now, but if she was like asleep, she woke up in a cold sweat going, hey, whoa, someone mentioned Skullgirls into a microphone.
Exactly.
She heard it.
So Peacock's level 3 is like the dopest level 3 I've ever seen in my life. She can only get it off of a throw, and she basically calls all her homies. She puts you in the bag. She calls all the homies to come beat that ass, and then she walks away, takes a couple puffs of her cigar while George is just beating you up, and then she just blows up everybody, and that's it. Like, she's such a G. Like, if I was a fighting game character, I think I would be Peacock, actually. She might be my spirit animal. Like, her moveset, everything about her, she's so funny and she's so, like, savage and, like, she's so annoying and, like, she has everything I could almost want in a character.
I'm for it.
So, you know, I love her. So, yeah, that's why I was like, well, if it's a normal attack, I know level 3 is like a special, it's like a super, but, you know, that one's definitely up there in my favorite moves of all time.
You have to talk about it, and that's fine. I'll allow it. Let me ask you a second question, though, because this is part 2. That was part 1. There's part 2 to this question. Part 2, what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
All right, I'm going to do the same thing as the normals, okay? Because I feel like a lot of different games,
somehow
you
I'm
can appreciate
not
their
surprised.
combo system for different reasons, right? So,
Go ahead.
Like in Marvel, I mean, I don't know if anyone's even tried any of Iron Fist combos, but those are some of the funnest combos you can ever do.
You're so right, but they're so impractical because you typically only hit people out of the air, or they get air juggled almost immediately, and almost all of his hottest combos require them to be grounded.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's like,
but they're still super fun to do.
I'm with you. I'm 100% behind you.
It makes me really sad that character wasn't as viable because
so
I would have used him.
They're so impractical. I'm for you. Trust me. I learned them. And then I went, why the fuck do I know this shit? This is... I don't know. No one should know this character. This is terrible. I'm
Justin shied, but you know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Let's see. In Street Fighter 4,
and then
those
he switched to Wolverine.
Oh yeah. Good choice. Mm-hmm. So Street Fighter 4, the Evil Ryu Sako combos were like super hype because it's like, you know, anybody who's tried to do those combos are hard and. You know, they're called Sako combos for a reason. So
he's the only one that did them in 20 with any amount of consistency.
Yeah, it was
great. Paid off for him. That one paid the bills.
So much damage. Sometimes, you know, aggravating amounts of damage, but it's cool. And I can like definitely respect execution. You know, good execution is hype. Because that's where you really unlock all the best parts of a game is when your execution is top notch. So. Yeah. And then for Skullgirls, Peacock has this big bomb called Lenny. And I use Peacock and Big Band. And when I started playing Skullgirls, it was right after they had a huge patch. And I went to one of my locals in New York, and, you know, I just started learning the game. I was just, like, in training mode. Everything I used in tournament was things I just learned in training mode on my own. Like, I hadn't really learned anything yet. Mm-hmm. And so, apparently, in this new patch, you could throw down Lenny, DHC into Big Ben, in which he kind of has, like, a... you know, like a bionic arm-esque thing, but he's like, you know, he just charges forward, right? So throw down Lenny DHC, and then he charges forward with his, you know, super, and then he has a move where he hits the ground and it pops you up off the ground, right? So he hits the ground, pops you up, and then Lenny blows up and blows you up into mid-screen, and then you air-to-air finish the combo with Big Ben. So... I did this in tournament because it was just something that I found in training mode and I started using it. The second I did it, everybody in the whole venue lost their shit. They were like, "Oh my god, what?
First time they saw
that
it.
works!"
I love
Yeah, because it was just after a new patch, and like I guess it didn't work in the patch before. So I was like super feeling myself. I was like, "Oh shit!" People are saying there's Persia tech out there. I'm like, "Oh yeah," I'm all hype about it.
When you get
And
tech
then
named
people,
after you, that's gotta be that's gotta
it
be a
was
good feeling.
great. But like the better part was that everyone saw it, and then of course they hit the lab and they optimized it. So the optimized combo off of that setup is actually super hype, and that's like my favorite combo.
I'm for it, and I can respect it.
So.
All right, good answers across the board. Do you have anything else that you want to? Any other combos? Are you sure? You're sure you're out of them?
I think I'm satisfied with that.
Okay, I think all right. That's good enough for me.
I just started
then.
learning Tekken, so maybe in a couple of months I might have some new additions to these, but we'll see.
All right, I'll allow it only if you can tell me the names as they are listed in the the command list. But only if. All right. Well, in any case, Persia, thank you so much for your time. And it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. And I am wishing you the best with everything you have going on at EXO Academy. But before I let you go, where can people find you on the internet? Last chance. Get it all out there.
All right. Well, if you guys want to find out more about me, Persia, you can go to my website at persia.games. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Persia_XO. And you can also find me on Twitch at Persia_XO. Boom.
What about anything else where people can find what Persia does on the internet?
If you want to support EXO Academy,
that's what
then
you
can follow. You can follow us on Twitter. That's our main social source.
Mm-hmm.
So Twitter is EXO Academy FGC. You can subscribe to our Patreon and get access to our weekly content at patreon.com/EXO Academy. And you can also pick up an awesome XOT at nexthitwins.com. We also have stickers available, free shipping if you guys want to get something on the smaller side but still want to represent. And follow us.
Yeah, I'm for it, and everyone should go ahead and do that right now. All right, folks, that's a show. Again, you can find me at SuperJoeMonday on Twitter.com or at RedditSF, the account for our Street Fighter. If you just hop on our Street Fighter, you find me Joe_Monday. That's a show, folks. Thank you again for joining us. Don't forget about the tournaments we have going on. Mondays on the East Coast, Fridays on the West Coast. We'll probably have to change our schedule for the following Friday because SFL? Question mark? Don't know what we're going to do because this is literally heard the news today. So we'll see. Until next time, though, folks, you can catch us every Thursday for another edition of RSF Radio. But until then, folks, take care.